Hi everybody, my name is Zach REDRUP. You're listening to the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I am joined by Mikey White, who's the frontman of the emerging hardcore punk band Fangs Out. We discuss the beginnings of the band and how it all came together, what it was like being a band born during the lockdowns, working with former Cancer Bats guitarist Scott Middleton, progress on the upcoming third EP, and loads more.
Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some other perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I am joined by Mikey White, who is the vocalist of Fangs Out. How you doing, man?
Not too bad, bro. Yourself?
Yeah, all good, man. All good.
Good.
Weekend's finally here, so...
Yeah, same, mate. Awesome. I can't wait for the... like I was just saying to you, obviously, we were talking just before this started, by the way, everyone. We're going to be behind the curtain here.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I was just saying to Zach that we're back in the studio tomorrow morning, so I'm excited. Exciting
times, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll dive into the new stuff that you're kind of cooking up at the moment in a little bit. But, you guys being such a new band, I kind of want to... there'll be people listening who don't quite know who you guys are, what you sound like. You've got a couple of EPs out so far, but So I mean, to start off with, how and when did Fangs Out become a band? When did that kind of all start?
Well, it was about the end of 2018, where a former band was sort of like coming to an end. I wasn't part of that band, but I had a mutual friend. Our old bassist, actually, Bo, was in, and Alex, our drummer, actually was in that band, and I met Bo through another mutual friend, and he just sort of said, we need a guitarist and a singer, basically. And I was like, I can do both. But I was more interested in guitar, if I'm completely honest. Right. Anyway, long story short, joined that band. A couple of the members left, and it was just it was me, Bo, and Alex left. And that was like 2019-ish. And we thought, we're not going to do it. Fuck it. Let's go in and record the first EP, basically. And I did all the guitars because we didn't have a guitarist at that point. And then we tracked everything. And just towards the end of the recording, our producer, Owen, was like, I know this guy. He's looking for a band, Ben. And do you want to meet with him? Yeah, sweet. And then we literally got Ben in at the last day of recording. He did, he's actually on that EP, he did gang vocals.
Okay.
And then, that was it then, and it was us and us through lockdown. Unfortunately, we released our first single right at the start of lockdown, so it was a bit like we were
timing.
It was the worst timing. So we were like, we're an online band, to be completely honest, for two years really. In that time, we did the two EP, released that one EP, Curse Words, and then like stuff was still locked down, but kind of getting better halfway. It was sort of just opening up in places, and they didn't know what to do and stuff. And then we went in with our producer and did the second EP, but it was weird because we all couldn't be in the studio at the same time, and it was like one person at a time and all this. It was weird. It turned. I love that EP, but it was a weird time. And then played our first show as Fangs Out the end of 2020, and then our bassist Bo decided it wasn't. There's too many commitments. He had a job that sort of took him away a lot, so left us without a bassist. And then Jay was in another band in Birmingham and met him through friends and stuff, and so said, I'll step in for a bit as a bassist. He was a guitarist actually. He was like, I'll step in. And then he just fell in love with us all and decided to stay. So we've been this full lineup since like 20, sort of start of 21. And then, man, that's Fangs Out, bro, in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people, especially as they get older and stuff, there's commitments outside of a band that kind of take precedent, and that's absolutely fine. A band life isn't it for everyone, touring in a van and...
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I'm fucking Peter Pan, so I'm going to try and, as long as I can, as long as the wife lets me. But yeah, it's true. It isn't for everyone kind of thing. And we do, as much as our sort of motto in the band is it's got to be fun, and and we we've all got real jobs, unfortunately, and other halves and houses and all that sort of real adult stuff. So, but we sort of say like the band it's got to be fun and try not to get it too serious. But it does it. Unfortunately, that is part of it. It's got to get serious at points when you're trying to actually be serious. So it's a bit of a conundrum. You know what I mean? But we're all right. We're doing good so far. Everyone's,
because I think bands, at whatever level it is, unless you're just playing a couple of shows locally just for fun, to different extents, it is a business of sorts, isn't it? So
yeah, it does. It becomes that, especially at like our level. It's not the business side because we're not making any fucking money, but it's like just staying at the top of the pile. Do you know what I mean? And you've got to put, and like, to be completely honest, that's Jay, our bassist. That's his, but he does all the social media. Like I can't stand social. I've got it, Facebook and stuff, but I'm just, no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And like that, like at Cycle, because we're all self-managed. We're not signed and everything. So Jay and myself sort of manage the band and doing EPs, and like the last 2 singles we just released is like write videos and then a campaign and all that sort of stuff. So it is quite, it's quite intense at points, but it's part of the deal, I suppose, man. If you want to do it, you've got to do these things, and we love it, so we will.
Yeah, definitely, man. So where did the name Fangs Out come from? Did you have any other names that you were considering for the band, or was it landed on that?
No, I think like I had that band name before I joined the band, like knocking around. It's actually a lyric from an Every Time I Die song.
Okay.
He sort of, I can't remember what the song is. I Suck Blood, maybe, I think. And he just sort of says, it really stuck out to me years ago. And then I was like, right, if I ever do like a heavier band, that's going to be the name. And I don't think there was much of a fight for it when I sort of joined. I was like, boys, Fangs Out. Like, yeah, man, sound, whatever. It's 2 words, easy to say, So that's it, really. It's nothing really exciting. It's just stolen.
Yeah, I think of a name like Fangs Out as well because of the word fangs. Obviously, you've got it as the logo. Like, you've actually got the teeth at the end.
Yeah.
Works well as well for like.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the guy that did that did a good job with that, man. Yeah.
You mentioned being in other bands as well. Were you in many other bands before Fangs Out? Like, were they kind of different kind of bands as well?
Yeah, like I was in bands in my younger years, like sort of post-hardcore, like emo-y stuff, and I was like in an indie band and all that. All the lads we've all been in bands in previous lives, and and like they weren't as heavy. Well, for me anyway, my bands were never as heavy as this. Like I was sort of screaming. I never really used to do it, and like I sort of started to do it, and like I was, because it's I had to sort of learn how to do it correctly without fucking blowing my voice. Do you know what I mean? And once I got it, I was like, right, I want to do a heavy band now. And but I had a bit of a break from music as well and stuff. Like I sort of, when my last band sort of ended, I was like, fuck music, man. Like it's just too, like being in the band with other people, and like it just got nasty, like sort of crappy, and it was like, I can't be arsed with this. So I had a bit of a hiatus, and then got the passion back basically, and I was like, right, time to start another band. And luckily it was this one because I fucking love it and I love the boys. So.
Yeah, well, musically, like you mentioned Every Time I Die earlier, but so you guys kind of sound like them, and Comeback Kid, Cancer Bats, Gallows, Ghost of 1,000, Grey Heaven, all that kind of stuff. And you've got quite a good handful of songs together now. How does a Fangs Out song typically come together with you guys?
To be completely honest, it's usually on a guitar, man. It's like I did another interview the other day, and I was sort of saying this, and it's like, I think for me, it's like if you get a catchy riff. You start with a sick riff, and then usually that riff will like build instrumentally a song around it. Like we'll bring it to the band or whatever, and we'll mess around with it in the room. And then usually I will write in, like I'm always sort of writing lyrics in my phone, usually just random ramblings and stuff, like stuff I hear people say, quotes, and like idioms and all that sort of stuff. I love it like word playing with, and I'll sort of play with them and stick it in my phone, and then usually it's like, right, there's an instrumental tune, and then the lyric, I'll just sort of hum over it and sort of make noises. There's never really lyrics, just sort of get the cadences, and then usually it's all right, I got to jam lyrics into this shit now to make it work, and then it all sort of just flows from there. But yeah, usually a riff. Usually for us, I think most of the songs we've had at the moment are all on guitar. They've all started sort of, if I sort of think back, they've all sort of been a riff that's been built upon, and then finishes it and makes a tune. Yeah.
you touched on like lyrically there, like you say, sayings and idioms and stuff like that. Are there any kind of, is it like personal stuff that kind of influences you in terms of what the songs
Yeah, for
become
sure. I think all the songs are about me or someone I know or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'd never tell them. But yeah, usually I think that recently as well, it's been quite personal. The last two songs were sort of the Get Grim we released was sort of about some people I knew and their sort of opinions on things that was a bit shitty. And then the second one is just about, I've got a family member who's not very well.
Right.
And it's just about sort of not handling the situation well, going towards all the worst things you can do for yourself kind of thing. But like the sort of the newer, like sort of touched in the beginning, the newer EP as well. I think a lot of that is, pretty personal, I think.
Yeah. Do you find that kind of cathartic and kind of
100%.
a sort of like therapy, I guess?
Yeah. Like going back to the second EP during, I don't want to say the word, like the lockdowns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I thought while I was writing those tunes that they were quite like upbeat and sort of happy and like and then lyrically and stuff. But when we got it all back, I was like, shit, man, no, it's really dark. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't intend it to be.
Yeah.
And like I listened back to that now and it was like, whoa, that was a snapshot of a time. And I think that's the first time I've really felt that with sort of our music. It's weird, like a little time capsule of that 2 years it was only 4 songs, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely cathartic for me. Like I do feel like a lot off my shoulders and it's all done in metaphors and stuff. I'll give anyone a medal if they can work out what the fuck I'm actually talking about. Like, but yeah, man, definitely it's a good you can vent, get stuff off your chest in that way.
Yeah, I think it's good to kind of do it in a metaphorical kind of way because, I mean, doing lyrics that are quite direct is all good and all that because, you're then portraying the message that you want. But I think if you do it in a metaphorical way, fans can then listen to it and interpret it into ways that they hear it. And sometimes that can help them go through what they're going through in their lives, which might be completely different to what you wrote about. But for them, it's so relatable. Yeah,
definitely. That definitely, if someone can read our lyrics just written down without the music and get what they like, that's amazing. That is, I'd like, if anyone does, I'd love to hear what their interpretations are of sort of our songs. But there's nothing wrong with a bit of directness as well, because I do that as well in places. But yeah, I do enjoy sort of writing a bit, like I say, a metaphorical way where people have to sort of work it out or take it on, take it as they see kind of thing.
So you mentioned before, the band kind of started, well, at least kind of got to a point where you guys were kind of ready to play live, and then the lockdowns came, which I imagine was not only frustrating for the fact that you couldn't go and play live, but the kind of music you guys play is very high energy, abrasive, in your face. I just imagine that would have been so much more difficult, that you had to kind of sit there and wait on this material that you got ready. It's out there for people to hear.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like we'd sort of braced ourselves, like, right, we're gonna live, like minute release the EP, get on shows and like, and like exactly. It was exactly that. It was quite deflating because it was such an unusual time, wasn't it? We didn't know, and it was like day by we couldn't even go into practice, which was the main thing. Shows were one thing, but you couldn't even go in a room with your pals and jam the tunes you'd just made for like a year. It was a long time, wasn't it? So luckily when things sort of opened, we could go in and at least the best thing about it was when things opened up, we had 8 songs, we had two EPs worth of tunes to go and play live. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of blessing in disguise in a way, I suppose. And we were sort of jammed them out as much as we can towards the end of the sort of the lockdowns and stuff. So when we did eventually play our first show, we were sort of ready to go, man. And it was some fucking great feeling. Like I said it on stage, man, but like I was waiting 2 years to say, I was like, what the fuck's up with Fangs Out? Yeah. And I said it, I've been waiting 2 years to say that. And then we sort of kicked into the first tune. It was like, I gave myself goosebumps, man. It was like proper nerdy. But it was sick, man. It was sick. And that was it. Then I was like, I love playing live. Like I love writing tunes, recording. I love-hate relationship with it because, it's, I think each member of my band will tell you the same thing as well. It's like, you're under a fucking microscope. Do you know what I mean? When you're in the studio, especially like vocals as well. It's like, shit, like I got to I did all the main bulk of my vocals for the new stuff we've got coming out like last Sunday, and it was like 7 hours of like me screaming like my head off kind of thing. So it's like, but yeah, like love-hate relationship with recording, but live is what it's all about. Like for me personally, I'm sure the boys would say the same as well. Like we try to be a live band, and I've said it before, like if you ever come and if you ever came to see us, you just see 4 dudes having the best fucking time on stage. We're just so happy to be there, and we just laugh at each other. Like we try and make each other laugh, and like the audience, like, you know, it's fucking, I love it, man. You cannot beat it. I'm so happy that it's all back, and, you know, and I'm not going to touch wood. It's just never going to go back to what it was. So, you know, we're all good now. So
yeah, you've gone through the hard part now.
Yeah,
that's never going to happen in your band's career ever again. So
no one's. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be out there playing with my best friends.
Yeah. Like you kind of mentioned it earlier, like though it was obviously difficult not to be able to play those songs live, in a way, as terrible as lockdown was for so many reasons, I guess you guys did kind of benefit because it gave you the time to kind of hunker down, write these songs, kind of refine your craft.
Yeah, definitely.
So that when you did go live, you know, you're going full steam ahead.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just the direction of what the band, because when we started the first 4 tunes, it was like, right, punky, hardcore, all the sort of bands you sort of mentioned, like that era of sort of British music, and, you know, we've Eated and the Bronx and all that thrown in as well. But the first 4 songs, you can hear, I think I can hear it anyway, but the progression of the band, like the direction we're sort of going in now, and I think we've got a sound now, we know. And like that time we had, like from the first EP to the second EP, the Pretty Bleak EP, I think there's definitely like I said, a change in sound. I think we were sort of honing it in, and then the 2 last singles we just released, they were like for me personally, like a level up, man, in like our sort of abilities. And I think everyone's like getting more confident in their instruments and what we can do, man. And I just can't wait to sort of people to hear what we've got sort of cooking up next, because I'm so proud of what we're still in the middle of doing. But yeah, it's going to be rad, man.
Do you think finally being able to play some of those songs live helped with that, you know, the level up that you're mentioning? Because I guess when you go out and play the songs live that you had beforehand, you kind of see what works live, what doesn't, what the fans are reacting to, what they're not reacting to so much.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you do. You know, you I don't know who would say they wouldn't, but you do write for a live setting, you know, especially the music we do. We ain't some fucking prog metal sort of band with long 7-minute songs. We're just, you know, 2.5 minute, 3 minute, if you're lucky, party bangers. Do you know what I mean? And like you're right. And we were lucky with the first EP that they did sort of work live, because we had, like you said, all we'd done is put them in a rehearsal room with the 4 people that had written them and loved them, you know, there was no sort of feedback, you know. It's like an echo chamber, I suppose. And yeah, I think when we took the 8 songs out, it's definitely influenced the newer stuff, because we do think of, because we've got shows under our belts now. It's like, right, this bit here is going to sound sick. This bit's a sing along. This bit, you know. So yeah, definitely, man, for sure.
And you know, those 2 recent singles, like you say, Get Grim and Doomed Anyway. Yeah, are they? I think they're meant to be standalone singles. Is that right? They're not going to be part of the next.
No, yeah. So they were just like, because we did the 2 EPs, and then we sort of just spent, like I say, I forget my dates now, like end of 21 and most of 22 just playing. And then we were like, shit, you know, we've been having fun going out and playing as many shows as we can, but unfortunately in the world today, you've got to keep putting material out, you know. Because people will just forget about you like that, you know. And so it was like, right, it was a conscious decision. It was like, okay, let's just go in the studio with our producer Owen and blast out 2 tunes. And it's the lineup we are now as well, with Jay as well. So it was like, you know, the fresh start, basically, we sort of saw it as. Right. And then we just, so it was just like, right, get them. And we had to, unfortunately, they were finished. I think we finished those songs in like June, July last year. And it was just sort of like the timing and everything. It was like, oh, you know, like a sort of press campaign, all that sort of stuff. And it was like, right. And it got to winter, and like the sort of music industry sort of shuts down in the winter, doesn't it, really?
Yeah,
It's not really time for releases. So we're like, fuck it, we'll just sit on them, which was the hardest thing to do. And we had Scott from Scott Middleton as well, who ex-Cancer Bats, to sort of mix and master them, which was sick. So yeah, so we sort of sat on them, and we just thought we'd just get them out. It's basically just a hello, we're back. And then we're quickly following it up now with this new one I keep mentioning, which hopefully will be we'll sort of have out in the summer, just to keep the ball rolling, man. We want to keep the keep the train on the tracks because, like I say, people can easily just go, what's the next fucking thing? What do we like now? You know, so yeah, but 2 standalone singles and then EP to follow, but they won't be on it, but they're out there.
And you mentioned, working with Scott Middleton, who mixed and mastered those two recent singles. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, because he was in Cancer Bats and you guys kind of sound similar. What was it like kind of working with him and, having his stamp on your songs?
Oh, it's rad, man. That dude wrote Hail Destroyer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was, it's because Jay sort of was sort of the communicating him first and there was a mix that came back and I wanted to change something. He was like, oh, just talk to him. And I hadn't, sort of like, oh. And then I sort of just chatting to, and he's a dude, man. Like, and what that sort of like how destroy like that album, man, like was another reason why I sort of got into that sort of music and shit. Like, so it was just, yeah, man, it's amazing to have his sort of stamp on it. And he was so like supportive as well. He released him. He was like tweeting them and whatever, Instagram and, so yeah, man, rad to have the main man sort of put his stamp on him and be there along for the journey, like, man. But it's sick. Love that band. Shame he's not in them anymore, but yeah, they're doing all right, man. I love the new album, sick. So
yeah, they're still going. They're going strong. Yeah, so
like the bassist does the I can't think of his name. He wrote the new stuff, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, which is sick. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, great band.
Do those 2 singles kind of indicate where this next EP is going that you've started working on?
I think there's touches of it. I'm trying to think now, the new songs. Yeah, 100%. It's just building off like the energy of those 2 songs and the sort of, the things we did in them. It's like, right, how can we take that and do something new? But they're a stepping stone to what we've got coming. Like it's all high energy or hopefully sort of hooky and yeah, it's rad, man. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Like I said, we're in the midst of it now, so it's all fresh and I'm buzzing for it. It's good. Summer's going to be too long, man, to get these tunes out, man.
Yeah, you say you're in the middle of it now. Like, what stage are we at? Like, I think I saw is it the guitars and bass have been tracked or?
Yeah, so it was. So we did last weekend, which was guitars and bass and vocals, and like I said, I was Sunday was vocals, and then we've literally got one day tomorrow, which is a few finishing touches on the vocals, harmonies and gang vocals, all that sort of stuff, and then just some sort of fun things we're going to throw in. It's just a bit of messing around time, really, which we've never, because every time we record, we always sort of have the same amount of time, and there's pressure there sometimes, and it's like, it's got to be done. Tomorrow's got to be vocals. So this time we were like, right, let's get a couple of days in the studio and it's worked wonders, to be honest. I've never had a day where I can go back because we've had really rough mixes of the stuff we did last week. And I'm like, okay, there's a couple of bits where I could sort of do it better. Yeah. So I've never had that luxury before, which is awesome. So hopefully it'll make the songs better and all the extra fun stuff tomorrow, like we're going to do, which will be sick. We haven't actually all seen each other because we did all the guitars and stuff separately. Our drummer couldn't be there. So tomorrow's like all the lads in the studio. So yeah, so we're going to finish that, do our working day, and then we're going to go for a beer after and celebrate.
Yeah. So it's nearly wrapped up then, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, done. And it'll be, it's got to just be mixed and mastered again. And then artwork is in the pipeline, all that sort of stuff, all the fun stuff, package it all up nicely. And then, like I say, we're looking at sort of summer time for the first single, at least, leading into to the EP. But that's all the boring stuff in it we've got to work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, excited.
Cool, man. And what else is planned for the rest of the year? When you've dropped this EP, have you got any like festivals, any tours kind of bubbling away in the background? No,
currently not. But we're playing. We've got a show at KK Steel Mill in Wolverhampton in April sometime. I should really know these dates, but I don't know. End of April, I think. And it's sort of like Primordial Radio, sort of their Mayhem Fest thing, but we're playing the sort of pre-show party. And then literally this year we'll just be getting as many shows as we can. Because like I say, we haven't got a booking agent or anything like that. So we're just sort of taking offers that we're sort of getting. We were sort of, obviously while we've been writing and recording, we've sort of put shows just to the side for now. But yeah. Once this is all done, we're back on it as many as we can, man, and who will have us. So I don't know who listens to this podcast, but drop us a message if you book shows or know people that book shows, because we would love to hear from you.
Any shows, anywhere.
Any shows, anywhere, man. Supporting people. Yeah. Get us down there. We'll have a crack.
Nice, man. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. This all sounds really exciting. I'm really interested to see what this next EP is going to sound like for you and kind of what it brings to the table for Fangs Out.
Yeah, man. Cheers, dude.
Before I let you go and enjoy your evening, and obviously with the recording over the weekends, have you got any final words, anything else you want to say, plug? The floor's yours.
No, just thank you so much for having me, mate. I really appreciate it. You know, anyone that has some time for our little band, man. And it's been great to chat to you. And yeah, if obviously people, if you are listening to you and you haven't heard us, go and have a listen, man. I think you'll like it. And if you don't, message me, tell me it's shit.
Yeah.
Love you.
Thanks again, Mikey.
Sick, dude. Thank you so much again, man.
Yeah, no worries. I'll let you go.
Enjoy your weekend, mate. See you later.
You too, mate. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.